And with Amazon, I hear like absolutely nothing in the media. So, like, in contrast to, say, something like Nvidia, it's extremely hyped. Whereas Amazon, it feels like no one's really talking about it. So, right now, all I hear is nothing but crickets. So, if we compare this to like Amazon back in 2020, right, all the way back here, where it was at the upper boundary where we were talking about in the last video, how when we're near the red upper boundary, it's probably quite expensive. Back then, Amazon was like the golden child of the stock market. And now who is the golden child? It's Nvidia, right? Everybody's talking about it, Nvidia. Nvidia's extremely hyped. So what I'm referring to is when the chart looks really, really good. So Amazon is cheap right now, in my opinion, based on the charts. It's at the same price and it's been at the same price or under for 4 years now. So if we can assume that the company has been growing over the past 4 years, if we believe that's a yes, and it's at the same price, that means that the company is now cheaper than it was back in 2020, right? We're getting a bargain for our money. So I think it's also a really, really great sign when you're not hearing about it that much in the media, because that means that sadly, not all of the novice and dumb money, the novice investors and the dumb money, they're not in the assets as much as they will come in the future. So like what will probably happen in the next year or so, or literally could happen next week or even this week, is that Amazon breaks out. When Amazon breaks out to a new high above 190, then that's going to be a newsworthy story. For the very first time in 4 years, Amazon has broken out to a new all-time high, which means everybody in the history of the asset, every single investor is now in a profit, right? And what do we always say? When everyone's in a profit, everyone's going to be really happy. That spreads word of mouth. When it spreads word of mouth, people come in with and buy more, which creates more demand. And then if the price, pumps quite a bit back to fair value of the white line, it's going to start getting pushed and you'll start hearing a narrative develop in the media. All right. So the media kind of follows the price. The media is not the ones predicting what's going to happen. Like that's kind of like our job, right? So what I want to think about is right now, there is the AI trend. Like it's so obvious. Everybody's talking about AI and how it's going to revolutionize everything. And I 100% agree. So what we have to do is we have to do game theory on the market, the investors, the participants of the market. What are they likely to do? So everybody knows there's a new game. We all need to be invested in AI. It is like insurance against, our potential earning power in the future, because what happens if it disrupts our industry? We can't actually make money anymore. So you got to be invested in AI. I think it is definitely as big as the internet. So if we're thinking with that mindset of game theory, what are the investors most likely to do? We know the advice of you always start off with the picks and the shovels. Going back to the gold rush, who got rich? The people that sold the picks and the shovels, right? So for AI, the picks and the shovels, they're the semiconductors. And that's why Nvidia, it's already gone. So Nvidia and the semiconductors, they were the most obvious investment. So if that's the most obvious investment, what is second to that? I believe it's like the robots and automation, the actual physical things. And people have kind of forgotten that Amazon is actually the leader in robotics, in the entire world. So to prove my point, here, I'm just trying to find some up-to-date data on the robot situation at Amazon. So I just got this from ARK Invest. It's a little bit hard to find something that is of today in 2024. But if you got something, if you got more information, please send it my way. I'd love to take a look at it. But here is a chart of the employees at Amazon versus the robots. And the employees are the blue bars. As you can see, it is growing exponentially. And as of 2022, there was 1.6 million employees at Amazon. But more importantly, I think, is to look at the robots and look at how that is also going up, the green bars, exponentially as well. And as of 2022, they had 520,000 robots. So I believe this decade, it could even be right now, that the robots have overtaken or will overtake the amount of employees at Amazon. And I think eventually, saying like 2040, they'll actually start cutting back on the employees. Like, they're not going to say that right now because, it's too scary for the market to hear this. So you also have to think about the publicity and all of that side, because there is a big movement of going against, people that are getting rid of jobs and all of that. So you have to push the narrative to maintain your reputation to the public that, hey, we're employing more people. We're not going to take your jobs. No, none of that. But if you just look at the data is saying that eventually there's going to be way more robots than there are employees. And that is, as an Amazon shareholder, that is kind of what you want to see if you're in it to make money. If we look at this chart here, this one is only looking at the robots. As you can see, it's a red line that just goes straight up into the top right-hand corner. That's what we want to see. So, yeah, same thing, 2023, 750,000 robots. Now, just on the Amazon website, and this is like a article that I could find that was made by them, same thing. We now have over 750,000 robots working, right? 750,000 robots. So that's like half of, like 50% compared to how many employees they have. So I don't know, it seems pretty obvious to me that there's going to be an inflection point where there are more robots than there are employees. And then everybody's going to put 2 and 2 together and realize, hang on a second, what is actually happening here? It's pretty damn obvious that a robot, it works way faster than a human. It never takes sick leave. It works 24/7. All you need is a little bit of electricity to charge the fella. And, you can argue, we need employees to, fix them up because you need to maintain them and all of that. Very, very cheap. But eventually there's going to be robots that do that anyway. So it's like, you go down this rabbit hole of like starting to realize, like, what are we actually needed for? What are us humans actually needed for, especially with a business like Amazon? So I think over time, Amazon, as they deploy more and more robots, they'll become more and more profitable, and they will actually expand their profit margins. So I think, just going back to the media thing, watch as Amazon breaks out to all-time highs, whenever that happens to be. Start to hear the narrative develop, right? It's going to come. And I believe there's going to be a point in time where the stock price goes back to the red line, and it's going to be the golden child of the market again. It will be the Nvidia of then. So, yeah, that's a little bit of insight into how I think, thinking about game theory, thinking about the market participants, and putting everything together with the charts. And it's once you understand, like, the charts is not woo-woo, it just makes sense. If the company's been growing over, the actual internals of the company been growing over the last 4 years and the price hasn't moved, it's probably cheap. Combine that with media, combine that with everything that I'm saying. It all starts to make sense, and you develop this little package. When the package is made, it's probably a great investment.